WITN Endzone, every Friday night at 11. High school football. Scores and highlights. Regional games, regional coverage. WITN Endzone, sponsored by 264 Shoes and Apparel.
With just 2 weeks left, the Big Carolina crown could be captured tonight. I'm Dugan Lloyd. Welcome to the End Zone, where this week the conference's top 2 teams met in Onslow County. With a win, Jacksonville could seal this thing up, while Conley potentially might need to win the next 2 weeks. First quarter, Amari Pearson already had scored, but far from complacent in the backfield. He reverses course with the gales of November at his back as he sails back into the promised land. Jacksonville came out with an edge off a kickoff. Heavin Mason flies downfield like a bullet train. Here comes the boom. They're leading by multiple scores before Samari Cabell is able to orchestrate Conley's first touchdown in the second. They can't keep up with the Cards, though, as Jacksonville secures the league title with a 41-24 win. Across town at White Oak, the Vikings in South Central looking for their first conference win on a chilly night. Falcons had a 1-score lead in the third quarter before Caden Smith tacks on another one from the goal line. Then a bit later in the fourth quarter, White Oak totally backed up, but Josh Smith isn't bothered. He uncorks deep to his main man, Edric Pineda. He takes it all the way, but South Central would be able to hold on 35-30 as Coach Bowie's bunch grabs their first Big Carolina dub. Finally, last but not least in the Big Carolina, Chris Cook had our game of the week tonight, where Rose went to New Bern for a clash of 500 ball clubs.
Yeah, Dugan, both of these teams are neck and neck in conference play. They came into this one, both teams 4-4 on the year, and they were hungry for a W tonight. And J.H. Rose struck first after the handoff to Javion Jordan, and he jukes one Bear straight out of his cleats on his way into the end zone to make it 6-0 with the Rampants on the board first. The Bears fought hard to stay in this one in the first half, though. Quarterback Terrence McCormick pops it off the right side and tiptoes down the sideline, and he throws up the peace sign. The Bears were now behind 14-6. But the Rampants put all their big boys out on this play, and Kaysen Chase follows behind those big boys to put the Rampants in the lead by 27-14. But New Bern got it within 1 score, and McCormick tosses it up to Kyshawn Taylor, and he says, "Give me that!" The Bears now lead 28-27. But Rose put their foot on the gas in the second half. Chase Davis sidearms it to Jalik Parson, who says, "I'm going to go ahead and dance on him on my way into the end zone." Rose is going to end up winning it 48-35. Coach Will Bland says this was a crucial win for this time of year. Start, how important was this win for the playoffs?
Oh, very important. So we can get a better seed in the playoff. Hopefully we can get a bye. But, you know, hey, wherever we end in the playoff, that's where we want to be. So as long as we get there, we're going to put on a show.
Congrats, guys. And the Rampants are going to ride this wave of momentum into next week when they have a date with D.H. Conley back home in Greenville. Meanwhile, New Bern is going to have to get ready for next week as they take on South Central. Reporting in New Bern, Chris Cook, WITN Sports.
All right, Chris, an absolute shootout in Craven County and a night full of different conference implications. One of those games we had circled over in the EPC would feature their top 2 teams in Tarboro and Aden Grifton. This was the first meeting between the two since 2000, and 25 years later, the buzz could not have been higher. Both defenses were coming off shutouts, and that carried over early. The Vikings turning a deflection into a turnover as Kip Biggs Jr. lives up to his last name. It would be a scoreless ball game after a quarter, but shortly after, the Tarboro T caught its groove. Cameron McDowell-Moore drags the Charger down to the 1-inch line where we all know what's coming. Tyler Powell takes the snap himself on the QB sneak as Tarboro finds the scoreboard first. With a 7-0 lead under a minute to go, some teams might throw, but Tarboro's not one of them. They trust their system and trust Jalen Farr McNair even more. 14-0 on the run. Then first play on the other side of the half, McDowell-Moore gets it back and gallops for 50 yards. Tarboro's conference win streak dating back to 2011 stands tall tonight, 41-zip, as they now can lock up the Eastern Plains next week against Kinston. Over in Farmville, the Jags taking on Green Central as both teams are looking to end losing streaks. First quarter, the Rams defense is ready as JoJo Sanders hauls in the deflection from Trey Bynum. JoJo adds on some yards on the return. Next play, Bynum back in the highlight, this time on the ground. Takes the handoff up the far side for the game's first score on a long one. He gets some cardio there as we get some cardio here. Moving to the second quarter of our highlight, Farmville's B.J. Gardner uses his legs this time, and that's how you answer. 7-7 at that point before a fight in the stands paused the game. It would then resume without fans, or Farmville would go on to win it. They take this one 29-23.